Hi, and welcome to this video on context and directness in job interviews. Imagine a situation where a job interviewer asks you what you don't like about your current boss. How would you answer? Would you answer honestly and directly? What would the interviewer think of you if you did so? In many job interview situations, you have to be aware of context and directness so you can answer questions in the appropriate way. By the end of this video, you will be able to understand context and use appropriate directness in job interviews, and also use the appropriate strategies to handle difficult or negative questions. As mentioned in our previous course in business writing, in most business situations, the direct approach is preferred, where the main point of your message is given at the beginning. This is the same as for job interviews. But interviews often put you under pressure by asking you difficult or negative questions where you need to be careful, and perhaps the direct approach is not that appropriate. You might need to answer indirectly and give the appropriate context so that the interviewer can understand your situation better and thus result in your response being more acceptable or appropriate. Difficult or negative questions are often asked to deliberately put you on the spot and see how you react. Remember, your main objective is to remain calm and show you are in control of the situation. This is especially important for candidates applying for managerial positions where handling pressure is required. Common examples are negative questions directed at you, such as asking about your weaknesses, mistakes or failures, or reasons for leaving your last job. They may also ask you to be critical of someone or something. The most important thing to do is to be positive. Whatever negative situation the interviewer is asking you to comment on, you need to finish with something positive so you can show you are capable at dealing with challenges. In these situations, firstly, pause, think, and then respond. The following 4 points are ways to deal with negative questions. You can reframe the question, followed by giving context, then the negative point, and ending positively. Reframing a question is an indirect way of responding. You set the context for your response and also frame the question so it's easier for you to answer. For example, the question at the beginning of this video was, what don't you like about your current boss? You can begin with avoiding the negative part of the question and answering the question in a slightly vague way using neutral language. Giving context can help in 2 ways. Firstly, it helps the interviewer understand the situation and therefore is more likely to accept your response, especially if it's negative or critical. Secondly, it can help you because if you give a specific context, then you're not generalizing about a negative point, but giving a specific context or situation that only represents a specific moment in time. Admission of negative points are good because you sound honest, and also you're not trying to avoid the question. Whatever your negative point is, make it realistic and reasonable. So take some time to read this response here. Whatever you do, you need to end positively. This will make you sound less overly critical and also show you are good at recognizing a problem or a challenge and proactive at handling it. So in this example, you see that it's ending positively with an action according to how the interviewer responds to his or her boss. By performing these 4 steps, you're able to answer honestly in a sensitive way without being overly negative, and you're able to end by showing a positive manner of how to handle a difficult or challenging situation. Remember, in most job interviews, you would use the direct approach, but it might be better to be indirect when asked difficult or negative questions. Giving context helps the interviewer understand your situation, and this can help justify your response. Whenever the negative situation the interviewer is asking you to comment on, you need to finish with something positive so you can show you're capable at dealing with challenges. So, right, let's do a quick recap what we covered in this video. You should be able to understand context and use the appropriate directness in job interviews, and you should be able to use the appropriate strategies to handle difficult or negative questions. But please note that the content in this video is for guidance only and uses a common sense approach to common interview situations, but it might not always apply to all interview situations. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you in other videos.